Hi everyone, my name's Curran, and this is the pilot episode for my new internet Scrabble lessons. Now, I may not be the traditional Scrabble expert that many of you might expect. After all, in full disclosure, I've never played in a real-life tournament, although I've played many online. I've never gone to a Scrabble club, although I do have many normal opponents online that I play with often. And most or all of my experience, despite playing with my family when I was young, has been online. But I hope that this experience might be a little bit more what you're looking for, since 90% of you will be watching this video because you want to play online. Now, I do like to consider myself a little bit more of an expert than the authors or the makers of some of the Scrabble videos and lessons that are on YouTube right now, which, to say lightly, are just wrong much of the time. I do use Quackle to play against the computer. I do use Ziziva to study words, which are two great tools. And most important of all, I do have my amazing Scrabble Hasbro iPod application, which keeps me company on very long train rides to work. So when I was growing up, I played a fair bit of Scrabble with my parents. They started me off really young and pretty much taught me everything they knew about Scrabble, which, suffice to say, wasn't that much. They did get me going on the fundamentals, and the first big lesson that they taught me was that longer words and more impressive looking words generally aren't worth more points. And you might be saying, yes, Scrabble isn't all about the points, it's about having fun, but if you want to learn more how to play Scrabble, you're not necessarily going to have more fun, because those who don't know how to play Scrabble also have fun playing the game, and that's what's so great about it. But if you're here, I expect that we're all competitive Scrabble players. Although I may have been excited playing a 6-letter word like liking across the board, where there were no bonus tiles, just playing one tile, my K, on the opposite side of the board could have netted me triple the points, and this was a very important lesson to my offensive Scrabble play. Now, I assume you're still with me. After all, I don't really want to start from the beginning. I'm not going to point out these are tiles, this is a bag, this is the board, because we should all know at this point what it looks like. If you aren't yet at that stage, no problem, but this video might not be quite the right thing for you. So try going online, Internet Scrabble Club, on the 2 Facebook applications depending on where you live, and try and play a few games against strangers, against your family, and learn how to play the game, and then this video will teach you how to play the game better. I have to make quite a few assumptions on skill level, so if you find yourself lost at any point in these lessons, which shouldn't be this lesson, but maybe in the future lessons, maybe you could find some beginner tutorials. There's no real video tutorials for this purpose, but there's definitely a lot of websites and resources online that can help you. Or just feel free, if it's not too big of an issue, just to ask me a question in the comments. Okay, so back to learning. The second lesson I learned, contrary to the first, is that Scrabble isn't necessarily all about points, or offense as many people call it. Defense is also a key strategy in the game. The first defensive strategy that you probably learned was not to open up the triple word scores. Now, this is a crucial yet very simple example. There are numerous methods to play defensively, but they all generally decrease your opponent's ability to score in the next turn. Now, I played with those two simple strategies through much of primary school and junior high, and it took me a lot of racks like this one, or this one, or this one, to really learn the third basic strategy in Scrabble, which is the leave. Now, the leave is basically the letters that are left in your rack after you play your turn. And you might have a really nice defensive, high-scoring word to play on the board, but if you leave yourself with 3 eyes in your rack, there's a very good chance that either the next turn or the turn after that, you'll be forced to exchange your rack and lose your turn. And what this does is effectively cut the amount of points that you get off of your really nice play in half. So the lesson is, if you can save your S, dump at least one of your 2 U's, or give yourself a better vowel to consonant ratio, you can probably afford to take a hit in the amount of points that you're going to get for your turn. Now, most of you probably already know those 3 basic strategies, but there's one more, and maybe not as many of you will know this one. Now, Scrabble's not all about offense and defense. You can't all chalk it down to those two things like you can in basketball, but you also have to look at the long-term development. And no, it's not like chess where if you think 7 moves ahead, you're going to have an edge on your opponent. After all, there is the randomness of the tile draw, but with proper board management, you can customize the board to whatever suits your play style the best. Now, the best way to explain this is with a few examples. So pretend you're playing against someone who's a much higher skill level than you, or more importantly, with a higher word knowledge than you. Your understanding of the 2 and 3 letter words, and maybe a lot of the 4 letter words, is about the same as him. After all, there's not that many, and we should all know the 2 letter words. But his or her understanding of the 5 and 6 letter words much outweighs what you know. And rightfully so. When you're learning off, you should focus on the 2s, 3s, and 4s. The solution is to bring your skill levels or your word knowledge closer together by shutting down the board and not making it a board friendly to plays of 5, 6 letter words or bingos. That way, if most of the plays in the game are 2, 3, and 4 letter words, then your skill level, your word knowledge will equal each other and you'll have a much easier or much better chance of winning. Now, there's quite a few ways to shut down the board. One is building the notorious staircase across from corner to corner, making it extremely difficult to hook off of the end or beginning of words. Secondly, you can extend words beginning or ending in a C or V into unoccupied areas of the board. This makes it extremely hard to build parallel to these words, as of course V and C are the only 2 letters that don't have any presence in the list of 2-letter words. On the other hand, say that you're about 2/3 of the way through the bag, and your opponent's about 75 or 100 points ahead of you. Now, this is probably a good time in the game to start breaking out the big guns and making some impressive plays. Bingos, getting your power tiles down. But of course, with the board the way it is, you can't really make the big plays. That was the whole point of our board management. So this would be a good time to start extending words that are easy to play off of into those unoccupied territories, to identify bingo lanes and make them accessible for play, and basically just open up the board. Now, this also gives your opponent the opportunity to play in this open board, but this is basically a Hail Mary pass, so it has a low chance of working, but by increasing the amount of points that both of you are going to get, it's a much higher probability that that win could go to you than if you keep the board shut down. It's most definitely likely to go to him with his 100-point lead. So those are the 4 main categories of basic Scrabble strategy, from simplest to most complex. The valuation of your play, or how you think it stacks up against your opponent, should take all 4 of these strategies into account. So just to recap, here they are. Offense, the point value of the play, such as hitting the bonus squares with your high value tiles. Defense, the minimization of your opponent's ability to score, such as avoiding his access to the triple word score. Leave, the consideration of your ability to make plays in the future, such as conserving your blanks until you can use them to bingo. And board management, the tailoring of the board to promote a style of play most advantageous to you, such as creating 2 triple word score access points at once, or forking, as we'll discuss in a later episode. I hope you feel a little bit more enlightened, or that I've at least constructed a base for you, or a reason for you to come back and learn more. I've noticed that there is a big lack of Scrabble video tutorials online, and the only option that there really is blatantly wrong. So I hope that with this knowledge and the knowledge that you'll learn in my successive Scrabble video tutorials, that you can think more critically in a game, and that next time you're in a sticky situation, you'll think back to some of these strategies and they'll help you pull out ahead. Till next time.